Hi guys, Garage LC here, back on another video. So today's video is about the BMR X. Big thank you to Chris for lending me his car. I've not built this car, so this is more of an overview and also a test of the driving style of this car. So let's get down to base stats. This is a front motored rear wheel drive drift car. It's more 1/24th scale. You can't reduce it down to smaller than 98 millimeters. It's 98 millimeters upwards. The car itself feels pretty solid. So you can see we've got a motor at the front, a drive shaft that runs to the back, and a rear gearbox with a fixed rear diff and double wishbone suspension. The steering system at the front is completely different to any other car. As you can see, we have lever arms coming back to the servo, which is mid-mounted. I like this setup. I think it's very cool. Now, Chris mentions he had difficulty with the servo horn. I'm going to flip this over. He had to trim, to get the AC11S servo in, he had to trim the underneath of the horn. Okay. In terms of how you adjust the wheelbase, it comes with adjustable wheelbase standard. You loosen a couple of screws. What you do have to do is remove this top plate, remove the brass cover to the gearbox, and then you slide the drive shaft further into the pinion by undoing and redoing a grub screw. Brilliant, really works really easily. I love the brass gearbox. The brass fittings on this car are really nice. The general overall feel of it is it's a solid car. Now the downside to that is obviously it's a big car. Straight away I want to point out these are offset 3 Mini Z rear wheel drive wheels, which are actually off the Mercedes AMG, I think GT3. The shell that has been made for this is actually a 1/24th scale AMG GT3, and you can see it's a wide shell, very wide. So just to give you an idea how wide it is, I want to put my 1/24th scale R34 next to it. You can see it's massively wider. Now, just to give you a comparison of what we're talking about in terms of the width of the car, because the track width is really wide, you can see if you look at the ball ends how much wider they are. To give a physical measurement of that, so this is the stock setup. I always do this upside down. Let's try that again. No, and he still does it upside down. It's because I'm left-handed, guys. Let's try that again. Okay. Right, so I always hold the meter upside down. So the ball end to ball end, on this particular car, the way the knuckles are designed, you're looking at about, ooh, let's try that again. Doesn't seem to be right. .63 millimeters. Okay, call it 64. The knuckles are pretty much flat center on that. They don't stick out much further. So if you compare that to the DWX3, the knuckles are slightly wider on that. Actually, that makes it about the same. That doesn't make sense. Now the knuckles are flat on that as well. Okay. Yeah, about 60, so it's about 4 mil wider, definitely. The wheels this car uses are the Mini Z rear wheel drive type wheels, not the all wheel drive. And it's one of the reasons why I didn't get this car originally, because there's a limit of, you can't get 22 millimeter, the larger rims, in the rear wheel drive format. So we're not talking about the actual car itself, we're talking about the wheels and the hub in the wheels. Now, the car does come with some pretty clever wheels that have variable offset. This is like my HPI Micro RS4, where you can change the offset by changing where the wheel center clicks into the bigger part of the wheel. This is a great design, but obviously then it limits your wheel colors and options and styles. These rims are bigger than a Mini Z wheel. I think they are actually 22 mil. So that's how it clicks in. You can change the offset based on how you click the rim in. I like the design. It's a shame they don't do these in an alloy or different styles, more styles anyway. Not as many, for example, we get with the all these different nice rims that we can get for the other cars. And these are all-wheel drive type rims, so they would not fit this car. So apart from that, the actual design of this car I do like. The suspension feels very smooth, and there feels like there's a lot of adjustability there. Same with the rear suspension, very smooth, lots of adjustability. Car itself feels pretty well put together, and again the parts, you know, scream. You can see the thickness on these ball ends in comparison to my DWX3. So overall, in terms of the appearance of the car and the feel of the car, it feels and looks pretty solid. And I love the way they've got this drive shaft running over the top, which enables you to be able to slide it through the gear, avoiding the main diff. And it'd be great if they could do this on all-wheel drive cars, have this kind of adjustability where you can slide, change wheelbases like this. So, you know, something like a version of this with maybe a GLA type chassis. Just throwing that out there, anyone listening. That would be pretty cool. It'd be nice to be able to adjust the all-wheel drive cars up to 1/24 scale. It would increase what you can do with them. Okay, so with the all-wheel drive wheels, with the rear-wheel drive wheels on, you know, the track width on this is huge. So, and that does aid in stability when drifting. So we're talking 83 millimeters wide. The only car I've got, which is with this width, is my XRX DPA Sport GTR Liberty Walk. That's a similar size. I think it's the same size, but it's a wide car. So just a few nitpicking bits about this car. For such a big car, knuckles are very small, and I know you can get alloy knuckles, but I can already see a slight split in the plastic on this one here. So that's one of the things I would improve on it, but that's the case with all these cars. I think, guys, on this scale, you know, it's nitpicking really. When you think about what they do, you're going to have, you know, very small plastic parts that are relatively easy to break. So the stance of this car and the weight distribution is that you can put the battery pack right at the back here, which I love. You can put the battery pack through the middle, but that limits the size of the battery pack you can use. Problem putting the battery pack on the top is then it limits the type of shell you can use. So at the moment I'm playing around with this shell, which I've only half mounted, so today's test run will be without the shell on. If I can show you what I mean about the battery. Now these magnetic mounts are part of the build. They're pretty cool, these little magnets. Okay, there we go. So yeah, you can just about get the shell on with the battery at the top, but just pointing out there that it is a limiting factor on the type of shell if you put the battery on top. So the choice of electronics for this car, we've got a ASF micro receiver to be used with an EX6R, GR Racing censored speed controller, GR Racing 6,800 kV censored motor. I'm dying to see how this handles. I think having the motor over the front is a brilliant idea, because often, as I've built lots of these drift cars, what you find is if they haven't got a metal base plate, you tend to find you need to put a little bit of weight over the front, right about here where the steering arms come out, so that the front end actually engages tighter and you can hold your drift. Otherwise what happens is that when you've got full lock on, I'll go through the full lock on this car in a moment, the car just rides forwards rather than actually turning. And to a degree you want it to have a bit of that so it drifts, but not so much so that you can't steer left or right without it just going straight on. So you can adjust that by having the slight rear suspension, the rear ride height slightly higher. But I have found in the build that I've done, and that in all of them, that at some point I've had to put a weight over the front. Now obviously the type of shell you use does make a difference. If your shell's got a front end that's heavier, then that's not so much an issue. And like I said again, the cars that have the metal base plates, I find that's one less thing. One thing I don't have to worry about is a weight over the front. But having this motor at the front should give this a unique style of drifting, a unique feel of drifting compared to the drift cars. So I'm keen to see how that works out. In terms of the lock, you get a pretty good acumen on this. I've seen better on other cars. Like I said, I haven't built this car, but you know, it's pretty good. The caster adjustment on this car is like the DPA Sport. You can put a, I don't know if you can see that there, you can put shims behind or in front, but it doesn't look like it's got a hell of a lot of range for caster adjustment. Now, I might be wrong on that. I haven't built this car, but certainly I like the adjustability I've got on my DWX3 in terms of the caster. I'll just quickly show you this. Don't know if you can see that there, the caster adjustment. There's 2 screws there. You can undo those screws, and there's actually more slots on here, and there's also more holes in the alloy base plate underneath to move that back. And even then, you can obviously easily drill a bit more plastic out and make more adjustability yourself. So I do like that adjustability, and this is more like my DPA Sport in terms of the caster adjustment. And I could maybe flip the arms if I wanted to get really aggressive with that, but we're not going to do any of that today. It's just a basic setup and see how the car runs. I've got high hopes. I think this is going to be a good running car. So guys, let's get some footage of it drifting. So guys, the drift footage you've got there, I did it on a shortened version of the track just so I could get some closer angles on the car. The car did not disappoint. I'm very impressed. The handling is very good, and one of the things I noticed straight away is you can put the gyro quite high on this car, and because the motor weight is over the front wheels, and you can see I've actually got the gyro right at the back here, motor right at the front, and there's very little shake through the wheels. And I found this on previous builds that whenever I add weight over this area here, it reduces the shake from the gyro. Obviously the surface does make a difference, but that is what I have found. I have found that when you put a bit of weight over the front, the shake that you get from the gyro, you can go much higher on the gyro before you get wheel shake. So that's a good thing. So definitely the balance on this car is very nice, and you can see that it holds with all the weight of this quite heavy battery as well. I mean, this is quite a decent sized battery. I don't want to rip the Velcro off, so I can't say exactly what it is, but it's heavier than a standard, say, GL Racing battery. You can see it's twice, much bigger. And even with this weight over the back, which I'll weigh in a second, tell you what it was, this car handle drifts beautifully, and I'm sure once I've got this shell on, it'll make it even better. So overall, this is a 1/24 scale. Don't hold any notions you're going to be fitting mini Z shells to this car. Realistically, if you want to get the best out of it, it's going to be 1/24 scale kits, and certainly it can handle the wider ones just by having wider offset mini Z wheels. Like I said, the only disappointment is that the limitation on the wheels you can use. These wheels that come with the car, I think, are 22mm. They certainly look it compared to these mini Z wheels, but you're limited on design. So my verdict on the car, I can't attest to the quality. I know other people have had gearbox issues, rear diff issues. For me, the basic design of the car is beautiful. I love the way it's been laid out. I do like the steering system. I do like where the motor is positioned. I think I'll have to play around with it a bit more and see how I can tune and mod it. What I don't like is the hub arrangement at the front. I don't like the front hubs. I Don't like the fact that you can't use the all-wheel drive wheels with it, and that's what's been the deal breaker for me actually buying one, because all my wheels are all-wheel drive wheels. I've got rear-wheel drive wheels for the auto scales, but you know, when you're going 1/24 scale, you want those 22mm rims, the bigger rims, not just for appearances because it fills up the arches better, but also for the handling. It's a slightly bigger car, it should have bigger wheels. So if there's one thing I'd say they could improve on this, is if they just made different rear axles and drive shafts. If they already do, and someone please correct me or leave a link. That said though, thinking about it, it wouldn't take much for me to modify this now that I've actually seen the setup, so that it would actually run with all-wheel drive wheels, and that'd be something that I would like to do next. I think once I've done that, this would be a great addition to my collection, so I will be ordering one. I do like it, and certainly I'm going to be stealing ideas off this to use on other cars, and then mixing things up like I always do. So in terms of handling, guys, big thumbs up from me. Yeah, I really enjoyed driving this car. The handling was nice. As with all of these cars, there are hop-ups available which would improve from the basic setup, and I'm no doubt the same applies to this car. But as a basic, for the feel of the car and how it steers and how it drives, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed driving it, and it definitely felt pretty good, and it felt pretty similar to my last DPA Sport that I did, the Mazda RX-7. But yeah, I like the motor at the front. I like the feel, the weight it gives over the steering. Okay guys, that's all for this time. More reviews coming soon. I'll see you guys all in the next video.